The sky above Earth was suddenly filled with shadows. Thousands of massive ships appeared, floating silently over every continent. People all over the world stopped what they were doing. They stared, afraid and confused. The ships were enormous, much bigger than anything humans had ever built. Each one glowed with cold, blue lights and sharp edges. The Galactic Empire had arrived. They believed they would conquer Earth in hours, maybe even minutes. They had done it with hundreds of worlds before. They thought humans would be easy. They thought humans would beg. But humans did not beg. In the Empire's main command ship, Admiral Velrak stared at the screens. They are too small. They are too weak. Why are they not surrendering? He said angrily. Around him, officers typed rapidly, sending messages and scanning every part of the planet. The Earthlings, they thought, must be hiding. They must be afraid. On Earth, nothing seemed to happen at first. Cities were silent. People watched from windows, streets, and rooftops. Satellites moved in unusual patterns, almost as if they had a mind of their own. When the Empire fired small drones to scan the cities, many of them simply disappeared. Some crashed for no reason. Others suddenly turned around and flew back to the Empire ships. The Empire commanders were confused. Their weapons and scanners were perfect, designed to crush entire planets. Yet humans were strange. A small boy in Brazil looked up at the sky. He pointed and laughed. "They are coming to play," he said to his sister. The girl smiled, unsure if he was joking. Across the globe, people shared pictures and videos of the ships. Fear was there, yes, but so was curiosity. And, strangely, there was excitement. The first human communication came after hours of silence. A single signal appeared on the Empire's screens. It was simple. Just 3 words. "We are ready." Velrak scowled. What does that mean? They should be begging for mercy. His officer, a young lieutenant, shook his head. I don't know, sir. It is calm. Too calm. The Admiral's anger grew. He ordered more scans, more drones, more probes. He wanted to see fear. He wanted to see trembling. He wanted humans to kneel. Meanwhile, on a small space station orbiting the planet, humans moved quickly. Engineers tapped on consoles. Scientists adjusted satellites. Small, old-looking ships prepared for launch. No one panicked. No one shouted. Every movement was precise, calm, and confident. Back on Earth, strange things continued to happen. Satellites blinked out and then reappeared in new positions. Drones sent by the Empire suddenly changed direction. Weapons fired from the ships sometimes exploded before hitting anything. The Empire could not understand why. Every calculation was perfect, every plan logical, but humans were not logical. Humans were unpredictable. Then, for the first time, a human ship appeared near the Empire fleet. It was tiny compared to the massive ships hovering above. It glowed softly and moved with speed that surprised the Empire. Velrak narrowed his eyes. A small vessel? Do they really think this can threaten us? The ship stopped at a safe distance. Its signal came through. The voice was calm, almost cheerful. "Hello," it said simply. "We are ready to meet you." Velrak felt a chill. This was not fear. This was not begging. Humans were different. Their tone was strange, confident, even playful. Some officers whispered among themselves. "They are mocking us," one said. Another shook her head. "No, I think they just do not care." The human ship made a strange movement, a slight curve and then a stop. The Empire scanned it, expecting weapons. There were none. Nothing harmful. The humans were not attacking. They were just there, small and calm, staring at the giant fleet. Suddenly, one of the Empire's drones approached Earth's orbit. It tried to gather data. Then it stopped. Its engines sputtered. Alarms rang. The human satellite had somehow hacked into it. The drone drifted silently, useless. Velrak slammed his hand on the console. "Impossible! We calculated every possibility." He stared at his officers. "They cannot be so strong, and yet they defeat us without fighting." On Earth, people watched the skies. They did not cheer. They did not panic. They simply observed. Children laughed at the strange lights, and adults whispered, Maybe they are not here to destroy us. Even the animals seemed calm, as if sensing the unusual mood in the air. The Empire grew frustrated. Their orders were precise, their weapons deadly, their fleets unstoppable. And yet, humans remained calm. The first strike that Velrak considered, the destruction of a major city, was delayed. Every plan was paused, because no one could predict what humans would do next. And then the most unexpected thing happened. A simple human broadcast appeared across all channels. Not a threat, not a warning. A simple, smiling message. Hello, friends. We are ready. The Empire fleet did not understand. No one could read the tone. Was it fear? Was it courage? Was it a joke? Velrak could not tell, and that made him angry. Humans had done something no other race could do. They had made the most powerful fleet in the galaxy pause. They had made the Empire question its own strength. And all they had done so far was wait. In that moment, the first seeds of doubt grew inside the Empire command. Maybe humans were not weak. Maybe humans were not afraid. And maybe, just maybe, the game had only just begun. The small human ship drifted calmly near the Empire's massive fleet. It was tiny, almost like a speck compared to the enormous warships. Yet, the Empire watched it closely. Every scanner, every sensor, every weapon was trained on the small vessel. They expected hesitation, fear, or panic. There was none. Inside the human ship, Captain Mara smiled. Her hands moved over the controls with ease. She did not shout. She did not panic. She simply prepared for what she knew would happen next. Her crew mirrored her calmness. Even though the fleet above was thousands of times larger than their ship, they acted as if it was just another day at work. Keep steady, Mara said. Let them see us. Let them understand we are not afraid. The Empire fleet did not understand. Velrak leaned over his console, eyes narrow. Why are they not fleeing? Why are they not surrendering? Why are they smiling? His officers whispered nervously. None had seen a race act like this. Most civilizations collapsed in terror before the first shot was fired. Humans were different. Mara opened a communication channel. Her voice was clear, simple, and confident. Greetings, travelers from the stars. We are ready to meet you. The words were calm, almost playful, and carried no threat. But the effect was immediate. The Empire fleet paused. Their commanders exchanged confused glances. Did they just joke? One officer asked. They are not joking, Velrak snapped. They are fearless and unpredictable. We have never seen anything like this. The human ship moved slowly, deliberately. It circled one of the Empire's smaller vessels. The Empire expected some kind of attack, a sudden strike, or at least an evasive maneuver. Mara did none of these. She simply observed, moving in ways the Empire's algorithms could not predict. Every scanner and weapon aimed at her failed to account for her speed and pattern. On the surface of Earth, people watched the skies with growing fascination. They did not cheer. They did not panic. Children pointed at the tiny human ship and laughed. Adults whispered, They are showing them something. No one understood fully, but everyone felt it. The humans were not afraid, and that alone was remarkable. The Empire attempted a test. One of their drones approached Mara's ship, weapons armed. The drone fired a pulse, expecting to disable the small vessel. But Mara had anticipated it. With a flick of a lever, the ship emitted a bright flash of light. Sensors on the Empire drone failed. The pulse bounced back harmlessly, and the drone spun out of control before retreating. Velrak slammed his hand on the console. Impossible! Their technology is primitive. How can they stop even a single drone? He turned to his officers. They should be weak. They should be terrified. Instead, they are clever. Too clever. Mara's ship moved closer to the fleet. She transmitted another message, this time showing confidence, almost teasing, You have big ships. We have small ships. But we also have minds. Let's see what happens. Her words were simple, but they carried meaning. Humans did not rely on power alone. They relied on creativity. The Empire commanders could not understand. Their entire strategy had been built on fear. Fear worked with every race they had conquered. But humans did not fear. They did not panic. They did not obey. They laughed. Inside the fleet, officers argued. We cannot predict them. Our scanners cannot track their minds. Our weapons fail against their tricks. How is this possible? Velrak stared at the screens. He had expected an easy conquest, a simple victory. Instead, he was watching humans turn their strategy upside down. On Earth, engineers worked quietly. Satellites moved to new positions, creating patterns the Empire could not anticipate. Communications were scrambled and redirected cleverly. Small human ships acted in ways that were almost invisible. Every move was designed to confuse, mislead, and protect. Mara's ship suddenly appeared near a large Empire vessel, almost as if it had teleported. We are small, yes, Mara said over the channel. But size is not everything. Mind matters more. Her crew smiled. The Empire fleet did not know whether to laugh or attack. A sudden incident shocked the Empire. One of their larger ships attempted to move, only to find its engines jammed. Sensors were scrambled. It drifted slowly, powerless, while the human ship calmly passed by. Velrak's face grew red with anger. How do they do this? They should not be able to stop us. We are the strongest in the galaxy. Humans on the ground watched quietly. There was no cheering, only calm observation. They understood something the Empire did not. Humans were not fighting for fear or hatred. They were using their minds, their ingenuity, and their courage. That was enough. That was more than enough. For the first time, Velrak felt doubt. He had conquered hundreds of worlds. No one had ever resisted like this. Humans did not attack in the expected ways. They did not fear. They did not retreat. They were unpredictable. And unpredictability was dangerous. Mara smiled as her ship circled again. The Empire tried to anticipate her moves. Every calculation failed. Humans laughed softly among themselves, not at the Empire, but at the absurdity of the situation. Giant ships, immense firepower, all powerless against a single small ship moved by clever minds. Velrak realized something chilling. He did not just face small, weak humans. He faced humans who could think faster, act differently, and create chaos in the Empire's perfect plans. And so far, they had not even attacked in full force. The stage was set. Humans had made the first move, not with weapons, but with intelligence and confidence. The Empire had underestimated them. And they would soon learn, in ways they could not imagine, that strength alone was never enough. The Empire's commanders could not believe what they were seeing. Every plan they had prepared, every strategy they had used for centuries, was failing against humans. They launched small attack ships, thinking they could test Earth's defenses. They expected quick results: fear, panic, surrender. Instead, humans responded in ways no one could predict. On a remote human space station, Lieutenant Aaron monitored the approaching Empire scouts. His fingers flew over the console, redirecting satellites, adjusting shields, and launching small drones. Every move was calculated, but also clever, unpredictable. Nothing the Empire tried worked. Their scans failed, their attacks missed. Their drones were captured or destroyed with ease. In orbit above the Pacific, one of the Empire's scouts fired its main weapons at a human drone. The weapons should have obliterated it instantly. But the drone suddenly split into multiple smaller pods, each moving in different directions. The scout's targeting system went haywire. In frustration, the Empire pilot tried to recalibrate. It was too late. The drone slipped past and disappeared into space. On Earth, cities were calm but tense. People watched strange displays in the sky as satellites moved in patterns that the Empire could not understand. Children laughed as bright lights danced across the clouds. Adults whispered to each other, "They are too clever. They are always one step ahead." No one fully understood what was happening, but everyone sensed that humans were not afraid. Captain Mara directed her team. Keep their attention, but avoid full engagement. Let them make mistakes. She smiled at the screens,
showing the positions of the Empire's ships.
Every misstep the Empire made was a lesson. Every attack they attempted only revealed their weakness in predictability. Humans thrived in the chaos, using creativity to turn the Empire's power against itself. One Empire ship tried a direct attack on the station.
Its lasers streaked across space, aiming to destroy the human base.
But humans were ready. A simple maneuver redirected the lasers harmlessly into the void. The ship's energy shields flickered and failed, forcing it to retreat. The Empire's pilots were shocked. How can they do this with such simple ships? They should be weak.
Velrak yelled, pounding the console.
Humans, however, were calm. They did not celebrate, nor did they panic. Their actions were precise, smart, and confident. Instead of brute force, they used misdirection, traps, and clever devices.
Satellites created illusions of additional ships, while small drones moved in unpredictable patterns.
The Empire could not keep track. Each attempt to attack only gave humans more information. On the bridge of the human station, Lieutenant Aaron grinned. They think they control space. But we control their minds, even if they don't know it.
Captain Mara nodded.
Exactly. We make them think.
They overestimate themselves and underestimate us.
The Empire tried to adapt. They studied human movements, predicted their attacks, and adjusted tactics. But humans were never consistent. Each action was unexpected. A small ship appeared in one sector, then vanished. A drone exploded harmlessly, drawing attention while another struck elsewhere. Humans were like shadows, impossible to trap.
Velrak's frustration grew. They are weak, and yet they resist every attack.
Every calculation fails. Every prediction is wrong. His officers looked at him, worried. No one had ever seen the Admiral so unsettled. What do we do? One asked. We cannot destroy them. They are too clever. Meanwhile, humans continued to test the Empire. They set traps, not to kill, but to confuse. Gravity fields manipulated by satellites caused small fleets to collide. EMP bursts temporarily disabled weapons. Even space debris was redirected cleverly, striking without warning. Humans never panicked. They laughed quietly at the absurdity of the Empire's situation. In one daring move, a small human ship approached a large Empire vessel as if to surrender. The Empire believed it had the advantage. But instead of surrendering, the human ship deployed a device that scrambled the vessel's sensors. Suddenly, the large ship could not see or target anything. It drifted helplessly, while the small human ship glided away, perfectly unharmed. On Earth, people looked up and gasped at the display. No one cheered or screamed. They watched quietly, feeling awe and pride. Humans were holding their own against a massive, technologically superior force, not with raw power, but with intelligence and creativity. Velrak realized the truth, and it terrified him. Humans were not just resisting, they were teaching the Empire a lesson. Every attack, every calculation, every attempt at domination was being turned upside down by the simplest human ingenuity. For the first time in his career, the Admiral felt doubt. Could the Empire really win? Could strength alone ever overcome unpredictability, cleverness, and courage? Captain Mara watched the stars through the viewport. She smiled faintly. We are only getting started, she said to her crew. They think they know us. They have no idea. Her words carried both calmness and confidence. The humans were ready for whatever the Empire tried next, and the Empire had no clue how to respond. The first real battles had not yet begun, yet the Empire already felt fear creeping into its ranks. Humans had turned a simple defense into a demonstration of power. Not power of weapons, but power of mind. And for the Empire, that was the most dangerous kind of power. The Empire fleet floated above Earth, massive and imposing, yet uneasy. Every new move by the humans made them question everything they knew about war. Ships designed to crush planets could not predict, trap, or destroy a single small human vessel. Admiral Velrak's frustration grew by the hour. He had faced countless civilizations, all obedient, all fearful. Humans were the first to defy him without even lifting a weapon. Captain Mara studied the screens aboard her ship. Her crew worked silently, precise and confident. They are trying to anticipate us, she said. Let them. That is exactly what we want.
Small lights flickered across the displays as satellites and drones moved in synchronized patterns, creating illusions, hiding real movements, and confusing sensors. Every step was planned, yet appeared random to the Empire. On one of the Empire's scouting ships, an officer stared at the sensors in disbelief.
They just disappeared, he said.
We tracked them a second ago, and now a nothing.
How is this possible? The ship's main gun locked onto the previous location of the human vessel and fired. The shot passed harmlessly through empty space. Nothing was there. It was as if the humans had vanished. Humans did not hide. They acted boldly, creatively. A fleet of drones moved together in tight formation, mimicking a large ship. The Empire fired upon it, expecting to destroy a small craft. Instead, they hit empty pods. When the real human ships appeared, they were behind the Empire fleet, observing quietly. Every attack the Empire made only revealed their mistakes. Velrak's officers argued. They are not afraid. They are unpredictable. Every move surprises us. We cannot control them.
Velrak slammed his fist on the console.
We are the strongest in the galaxy. We cannot fail to conquer a single planet.
But the more he tried to control, the more humans defied his logic. On Earth, scientists monitored the skies. Engineers moved satellites to create gravitational disturbances, redirecting minor fleets. Small human ships moved in patterns the Empire could not predict.
They were tiny but precise. They were weak but clever.
Every human action was a demonstration of ingenuity, not brute force. Captain Mara smiled as her ship approached a massive Empire vessel. We do not need to attack them directly, she said.
We only need to show them we are not afraid. That is enough. Her crew nodded, understanding perfectly. Every move was designed to confuse and outthink the enemy. Humans used traps, misdirection, and clever tactics, not weapons alone.
Suddenly, one of the Empire ships tried to force its way past the orbiting defenses. A satellite altered its trajectory, sending it spinning uncontrollably. Another ship fired, only to find its weapons disabled by an electromagnetic pulse. Humans had anticipated every small step, turning the Empire's technological power into chaos. Velrak's face grew red with anger and confusion.
They are weak, he shouted. And yet they defeat us without striking a single blow. How is this possible?
His officers could not answer. They had no experience with a species that could resist by using creativity, intelligence, and calm confidence rather than weapons.
Humans on the ground observed quietly. Children laughed as lights flickered across the sky. Adults whispered about the clever tricks the humans were using. Soldiers and engineers coordinated with satellites and small ships, creating a synchronized defense.
Every human was part of the plan, yet the Empire could not detect coordination.
It was unpredictable. It was human.
Captain Mara watched a large fleet segment drifting helplessly. It had been caught in a gravitational trap created by satellites and debris. They think their power is unstoppable, Mara said softly.
But power alone is never enough. They cannot understand us. They never will.
Her crew smiled faintly. They knew the Empire could destroy them easily, yet they continued, calm and confident. The Empire fleet had never faced such resistance.
Every calculation, every prediction, every strategy failed.
Humans were not just surviving, they were teaching the Empire a lesson. Humans could turn weakness into strength, small numbers into advantage, and simplicity into genius.
Velrak realized something terrifying. Humans were not strong in the way the Empire measured strength, but they were strong in ways the Empire could not measure.
Creativity, unpredictability, courage, and intelligence. They were weapons stronger than any laser or missile. A small human drone moved close to one of the Empire's massive command ships.
The sensors on the command ship went haywire. Alarms rang. Officers scrambled. The drone did nothing harmful, yet it had caused panic. Humans could manipulate perception, creating fear without even firing a weapon. On Earth, the sky was calm once again. Satellites blinked, drones moved silently, and the small human ships glided between the massive Empire vessels. No explosions. No destruction. Yet the Empire felt fear creeping into its ranks. The humans were winning, not by brute force, but by being clever, unpredictable, and human. Mara looked at the stars. "They are strong," she said, "but they cannot understand us. And that is enough." Her crew understood. The humans had turned the first stage of the battle into a display of ingenuity. The Empire's pride was their weakness, and humans were exploiting it perfectly. The Galactic Empire had arrived to conquer. They expected fear. They expected submission. Instead, they found humans laughing quietly, clever beyond measure, and impossible to predict. And for the first time in its long history, the Empire began to wonder if it had underestimated the most dangerous race in the galaxy. The Empire believed it had the advantage. Their ships were massive, their weapons unstoppable, their fleets perfectly coordinated. They expected humans to panic, to flee, to beg for mercy. Instead, humans laughed quietly and planned. Every move by the Empire was met with a clever counter, not with brute force, but with intelligence and surprise. Captain Mara watched the displays aboard her ship. "It is time to strike," she said calmly. "But not with weapons. With cleverness." Her crew nodded. Small human ships, satellites, and drones moved into positions carefully calculated to confuse the Empire. Every move was designed to mislead and trap. One by one, small human drones activated hidden devices. Gravitational anomalies caused the massive Empire ships to drift slightly off course. Navigation systems failed, creating confusion among the fleet. Even the most experienced pilots could not understand how such small humans could create such disruption. An Empire destroyer tried to fire on a human ship. The shot missed entirely, passing through a harmless field created by redirected satellites. Another ship collided with debris that had been strategically moved into its path. Chaos spread quietly through the Empire fleet. Ships that had always moved with precision now struggled to maintain formation. Velrak slammed his hand on the console. "What is happening? They are weak. They cannot do this. Stop them." Officers scrambled to regain control, but the humans had already anticipated their reactions. Every adjustment by the Empire created a new opportunity for humans to exploit. On Earth, the sky was filled with quiet activity. Satellites blinked in coordinated patterns, small ships glided invisibly, and drones moved like shadows. Civilians watched with wide eyes, sensing the strange dance between tiny humans and massive alien ships. Children laughed at the lights, and adults whispered, "They are smarter than we imagined." Captain Mara directed her team to take a calculated risk. A small group of human ships approached the center of the Empire fleet. It looked like an attack, but it was a distraction. While the Empire focused on the approaching ships, hidden satellites and drones activated a series of energy pulses that temporarily disabled the fleet's targeting systems. Ships drifted helplessly, unable to fire, unable to respond. Velrak's voice boomed through the command room. "Pull back! Pull back! They cannot be allowed to continue." But the humans had anticipated even this order. The pulses were timed to end just as the Empire tried to retreat, causing confusion and miscommunication. Minor collisions occurred between their own ships. One of the Empire's commanders turned pale. "Admiral, they are controlling our movements without even touching us. How is this possible?" Velrak clenched his teeth. "It is impossible. We are the strongest fleet in the galaxy. No one should be able to challenge us like this." Meanwhile, humans on Earth and in orbit continued to act with calm confidence. They had learned to predict how the Empire would react to every situation. By creating small disturbances, misdirections, and illusions, they forced the Empire to make mistakes. Every mistake revealed a weakness, every reaction played into human hands. Captain Mara smiled at the screen. "See? They think they are in control, but they are not. They never have been." Her crew worked quietly, efficiently. They were small, yes, but their minds were fast, their creativity unmatched. They could win battles without firing a single shot. In the Empire fleet, ships that had once been symbols of absolute power now floated helplessly. Pilots argued and shouted, trying to regain control. Some were panicked. Others were frozen in disbelief. Nothing they did restored order. Their most advanced weapons had been neutralized. Their perfect calculations had failed. The humans, however, remained calm. Small bursts of light, invisible maneuvers, and clever redirection caused more havoc. Ships collided, engines failed,
and targeting systems went offline. The Empire had expected fear, panic, and surrender, but humans had not even flinched. They had only smiled, laughed softly, and continued their work. Velrak's anger turned to fear. He had underestimated humans, believing strength alone would conquer them. Instead, he was witnessing something he could not comprehend. Humans were defeating his fleets, not with overwhelming force, but with intelligence, creativity, and courage. And that made them far more dangerous than any weapon he had ever commanded. On Earth, people stared at the sky, amazed and hopeful. They did not cheer loudly. They watched quietly, sensing that humans had achieved something incredible. Without vast weapons or massive armies, they had outsmarted the mightiest fleet in the galaxy. Captain Mara looked out at the stars and whispered to her crew, "They think they are powerful. They are not. This is only the beginning." Her words were calm, but full of confidence. Humans had turned the first real battle into a lesson. The Empire would never see them the same way again. For the first time, the Galactic Empire understood the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were not easily frightened. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and courageous. And no amount of power, strategy, or intimidation could defeat that. The Empire fleet had never faced a challenge like this. Every calculation, every strategy, every prediction had failed. Ships that once inspired fear now drifted helplessly, confused and vulnerable. Admiral Velrak stared at the screens in disbelief. Every attempt to strike humans had been turned against them. Every maneuver had revealed a weakness. And now, the humans were preparing something even greater. Captain Mara's ship moved silently through space, tiny compared to the massive Empire vessels, yet full of purpose. Her crew worked calmly, efficiently, coordinating with satellites, drones, and other small ships. Every human action was deliberate. Every move designed to confuse, to mislead, and to strike when least expected. "They think they are winning," Mara said softly. "But they do not see the whole picture. We will show them." Her hands moved over the controls with precision. A network of satellites began to pulse with energy, small bursts that seemed harmless but were perfectly timed. Drones moved in intricate patterns, creating illusions of multiple fleets. Even space debris was redirected strategically. The Empire watched, unable to understand. Velrak's voice was tight with frustration. "Why do they not attack directly? What are they planning?" Officers scrambled to analyze the movements, but nothing made sense. The humans' plan was invisible to their sensors, unpredictable to their strategies. Then it began. A synchronized series of actions unfolded across the planet and in orbit. Satellites altered gravity fields, forcing massive Empire ships slightly off course. Drones deployed energy pulses that temporarily disabled weapon systems. Small human ships moved in and out of view, creating illusions of fleets where there were none. The Empire fired blindly, but their shots missed, hitting nothing. Velrak slammed his hand against the console. "Impossible! Every system is failing. We cannot fight them. Pull back." But it was too late. Humans had orchestrated a strike that did not rely on brute force, only cleverness and coordination. Fleets collided, weapon systems malfunctioned, engines failed. The Empire's pride and discipline became their weakness, manipulated by the humans' unpredictability. On Earth, people watched the sky in quiet awe. Lights streaked across space, sometimes seeming to disappear and reappear elsewhere. Satellites blinked, drones darted, and small human ships moved like shadows. The Empire's massive vessels were trapped in a web they could not see, struggling to regain control. Mara's voice remained calm, almost playful. "They cannot understand us. They are strong, yes, but not clever. We win because we think differently. We win because we are human." Her crew smiled faintly, watching the Empire falter. Every action they had taken, every calculation they had made, had led to this moment. One by one, Empire ships began to drift out of formation. Engines failed. Collisions occurred. Weapon systems shut down. The mighty fleet, which had once seemed unstoppable, was reduced to chaos by small humans and their ingenuity. Velrak's officers panicked, shouting orders that could no longer be executed. Humans did not attack in anger. They did not show hatred. Their strike was precise, clever, and controlled.
They exploited weaknesses, created confusion, and turned the Empire's own strength against them. One small ship passed harmlessly through the center of a command fleet, triggering sensors and alarms that caused the Empire to fight itself. Velrak's face grew pale. He had believed in power. He had relied on strategy, discipline, and overwhelming force. And now he realized none of it mattered. Humans were different. Humans did not fight like other races. Humans used intelligence, courage, and unpredictability, and that made them unstoppable. On Earth, children laughed as streaks of light moved across the sky. Adults whispered about the cleverness of humans. Soldiers and engineers coordinated flawlessly, manipulating satellites, drones, and small ships. The humans had not destroyed the Empire through violence alone. They had outsmarted them, trapped them, and made them helpless without a single massive weapon being fired. Captain Mara watched the last remaining Empire ship struggle. They expected fear, she said. They expected surrender. But we are not afraid. We are human. And that is enough. Her crew nodded, silently celebrating a victory that was as much about mind as it was about courage. Velrak realized the truth, and it terrified him. Humans were not weak. Humans were not predictable. Humans could do more with ingenuity and courage than the Empire could do with fleets, weapons, and fear. And in that moment, he knew the Galactic Empire had underestimated the most dangerous species in the galaxy. For the first time, the Empire paused, unsure how to proceed. They had met humans expecting conquest. Instead, they had met laughter, cleverness, and courage. Humans had turned the battle around, not with firepower, but with intelligence. The Empire had learned a lesson it would never forget. The skies above Earth were calm once more. The Empire fleet, battered in morale though not destroyed, retreated slowly. Humans did not celebrate loudly. They did not cheer. They observed quietly, confident and calm. They had won the first real confrontation not by strength, but by being human. And that was a victory more powerful than any weapon could ever be. The Empire fleet hovered above Earth, battered, confused, and humiliated. Ships that had once inspired fear now floated helplessly, engines failing, systems offline, crews panicked. Admiral Velrak stared at the screens, disbelief etched across his face. He had conquered countless worlds, but never had he faced a species like this. A species that defeated him not with firepower, but with wit, courage, and creativity. On Earth, humans watched the skies. They did not cheer loudly, nor did they dance. Their victory was quiet, confident, and precise. Children pointed at the blinking lights of satellites and small ships moving gracefully in patterns no Empire ship could understand. Adults whispered in awe, "They did it! They really did it!" Soldiers and engineers on the ground and in orbit continued their work, calm and efficient, ensuring that the Empire could not recover quickly. Captain Mara's ship glided among the stars, small but proud. Her crew moved with quiet precision. "They still don't understand us," she said softly. "They think strength alone matters. But they are wrong. We win because we are human." Her eyes sparkled with calm confidence. "And now, we remind them that humans can laugh, even in the face of the greatest danger." The humans' final move was not a weapon, not a threat, but a message. A simple broadcast, projected across every channel the Empire could receive, appeared on every screen in their fleet. Words in simple, calm English scrolled slowly. "Hello. Nice try." There was no anger, no arrogance. Just a gentle, almost humorous reminder that humans were clever, fearless, and unpredictable. Velrak's officers froze. What is this?" one whispered. "They are laughing at us?" Velrak slammed his fists on the console. "We are the strongest in the galaxy. How dare they mock us?" But even as he shouted, he could not deny the truth. Humans had defeated his fleet without firing a massive weapon. They had done it with intelligence, courage, and unpredictability. And now they were reminding him of it with humor. On Earth, Captain Mara smiled. They expected fear. They expected surrender. They got neither. And now, they understand one simple truth. Humans cannot be controlled. Her crew laughed softly. It was a quiet laugh, not of arrogance, but of triumph. Humans had proven something far greater than victory.
They had shown that courage, ingenuity, and a calm mind were more powerful than fear or firepower. The Empire fleet, battered and humiliated, slowly began to retreat. Ships moved clumsily, systems still failing, morale shattered. The Galactic Empire had arrived expecting easy conquest, and they left questioning everything they had known about strength, power, and intelligence. Humans had done the impossible. They had survived, resisted, and won, without relying on overwhelming force. Children on Earth pointed at the sky, laughing at the tiny human ships weaving gracefully through massive enemy vessels. Adults shook their heads, smiling, amazed by the ingenuity of their species. Soldiers and engineers observed quietly, proud and confident. They had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans had turned the greatest threat in the galaxy into a lesson in cleverness and courage. Captain Mara looked back at Earth, her home, and whispered, "We are small, yes, but we are smart, brave, and human. And that is enough." Her crew nodded. The humans had not only defended their planet, but they had also taught the universe a lesson it would never forget. Velrak watched the retreating Empire fleet, pale and shaken. His pride had been broken, his strategies proven useless. For the first time, he realized that strength alone was never enough. Humans had laughter, courage, and unpredictability on their side. Qualities no fleet, no weapon, no empire could easily conquer. As the skies cleared, satellites blinked gently, small ships returned to orbit, and the people of Earth watched in quiet celebration. Not a single massive explosion had marked the victory. No war cries or celebrations, only calm confidence, intelligence, and the simple joy of being human. The Empire would remember this day forever. The Galactic Empire had met humans expecting obedience, fear, and surrender. Instead, they found laughter, ingenuity, and courage. They found a species that could outthink, outsmart, and outmaneuver the greatest fleet in the galaxy without relying on strength. And humanity? Humans returned to their daily lives, quietly proud. They had survived the impossible. They had outwitted a galactic empire. They had laughed in the face of danger. And they had reminded the universe, in the simplest way possible, that humans were not to be underestimated. The first encounter had ended. The Empire had learned a hard lesson. Humans had proven themselves clever, courageous, and unstoppable in ways that no amount of firepower could challenge. And above all, humans had done it with a smile, a laugh, and the simple truth that being human was the greatest power of all.